Happy Easter. Okay, we are going to it's just been a great day. And, Easter is the beginning, right? Easter is the beginning of waging war on evil. And today, President Trump didn't waste any time, did he? He waged war on evil. And, yeah, so, you know, what, what we have, to really give the argument for is it evil that he waged war on, right? And how is he going to do it? And and why is he going to do it? Because of his history. This is he's a tough guy. Yeah, he's a tough guy, but he was never ever a warmonger. Matter of fact, I think he really upsets a lot of the warmongers because they want forever wars, right? And he doesn't really want forever wars. So, but the truth is that there's real evil out there, and we can corroborate that with our evidence. 5.5 years of investigating and being uh, just, I don't want to say shocked, but maybe it is shocked by the breaking news every day, the piles and piles of evidence that shows that we've been lied to. We've been lied to and we've been infiltrated, and our government is not working for us. It was until President Trump came, right? Until President Trump came, and he's like totally surrounded. Um, and can we say that? Can we say that with surety? People say, how can you say that with surety? Well, it's because we have so much evidence. We have so much evidence that we can, um, give people a little bit of insight of what we've discovered in 5.5 years. And it's not been 5.5 years of, oh, every once in a while looking something up. This has been an intense investigation day in and day out, and anyone that's been keeping up with our son's case, Richard Halliday, you will absolutely be our witness that that's exactly what we have done, and you only have to go through our website, our Facebook, and everything that we have put out there to see for yourself. That is also a witness. Our work, our investigation, our memes, our posts, our articles, our filings, which are so numerous, y'all, you just wouldn't even believe it. You wouldn't even believe it. And of course, our live streams. And there's just so much more that that over these over 5.5 years that we have put out there and corroborated that President Trump is not fooling around. He's very serious and he's taking on evil. He's taken on the evil. And, many people say he's part of it. Well, he's a billionaire, right? He's a billionaire. Is he part of it? Part of this network? I don't know how you mean. I don't know how you mean because, that's a really loaded question, right? That's a very loaded question when you're talking about a billionaire. Um, but what Easter does is change everything, doesn't it? Easter changes everything. And he waged war on evil today, and we can absolutely confirm that. And he didn't hold back, did he? He didn't hold back one bit. He wasn't even really um, diplomatic, was he? He wasn't diplomatic, and he normally is very diplomatic, He's, very careful. But in this instance, he's not because it has to do with the repatriation of our son's remains. And, and of course, so much more, taking down this deep state, this Mormon faction, narco philanthropists, right? This Iran Contra on steroids, this the Iran Contra in alliance, and Iran Contra was in alliance with the cartels, and it never ended. It never ended. That's why in 1991, Jeffrey Epstein bought Zorro Ranch, because it never ended. He established a base. He established a base to work it, because he was working with Khashoggi, right? And Iran Contra, he was the finance guy, right? So yeah, so let's get started. It's been just a really wonderful Easter. And to read what President Trump wrote, I was like, wow, he is out all guns. Thank God. Thank God he is out with both guns, all guns, because what they did, what these cartel, Iran, Hezbollah proxy, the narco philanthropists, Mormon faction protectors, these child traffickers, these, well, just traffickers and human flesh peddlers and organ harvesters and just the worst of the worst type of crimes, what they have done by infiltrating our country, infiltrating and embedding within our agencies and government institutions, and within our military, and compromising our country, really compromising, not completely, but really compromising our country. And that's why you see these double agents, because they have dual citizenship, and they are part of this Mormon faction, protectors, in alliance with them, in alliance with the cartel, and they have they are here in our country, and you can call them sleeper cells, whatever, but they were coming through, and with no respect to our history or our constitution, our law, they were absolutely slowly, and then it went turbo. Uh, Conquering our country. Really, we would have lost our country. Really. And so, and you don't have to look far. You really don't even need me. You don't even need me. I mean, you need Richard. You need Richard, but you don't need me to look into it for yourself. Um, so we'll just, uh, you know, give you what we have discovered, what we have found out, and add to it. Share and add to it, because it is a little bit. Yeah, it takes you in so many different directions, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you start looking into it. But you don't have to dig hard. It's not hard. You just have to take a little time. So, yeah, we do it every day. We do it every day to um, get our case together, because, of course, our lawsuits are coming, and they are absolutely epic. They are absolutely epic, and so that's but we'll let everyone know. We'll let everyone know, because so much is happening with this whole um, declaration of war against evil. That's, he really did that today, and it's we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's get started. Sorry, I'm just uh, really excited that President Trump came out with all guns. You know what that means? That he has the leverage, that he has all the cards in his hands. So we are at day 2073 since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room for being a whistleblower, okay? For being a whistleblower. And these evil infiltrators, cartel embedders that were in alliance with um, the Hezbollah, Iran faction that doesn't want the best for the United States. Um, and of course, a big ally of that is China. So, yeah, Richard absolutely was reporting the Walmart mass shooting. What was that? What was that? I was asked that today. What was that? Um, well, it was the targeting of President Trump. It was an orchestrated, very bloody shooting to develop a false narrative to target President Trump, to tamper with the election. Absolutely, to divert attention from the investigations that were ongoing at the border under his first administration. And this is, his second administration. He's a little bit more savvy about how he's taking down this trafficking pipeline that is more than that. It's more than that. And it leads to Iran, right? It leads to China. And that, and we know that. And we know that because of our investigation and who has attacked us over these last 5.5 years. Why would they attack us? Why don't they want to know about what happened to a whistleblower soldier, and why are they so angry that we don't give up, and that they come after to block us, and then all of our filings and the responses of the filings and all the open records, um and it is so numerous, y'all. I mean, it's vast, it's robust, it's so robust. I had a friend that told me, you have a robust amount of evidence, right? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Um, and so, with all of that evidence, we can tell you that you need Richard, because Richard is the whistleblower. Richard is the one that made all this possible, because he reported it. He said there's mutiny. There is um, military that are enemies. The enemies are embedded in our military, and they are mutinous. They are orchestrating a mass shooting so that they can affect the American elections um, against President Trump, since he was the one investigating them. He was the one that closed down Zorro Ranch. He's the one that had J.E. arrested. Um, you know, and you can go on and on. He's the one that the Brazil baby farms, right? Ended that, made Oprah look like a fool, shaking in her boots. I think she's shaking in her boots. She's getting skinnier and skinnier. But so it's rattling, because what she did, unless there's a deal, right? And there's, of course, President Trump weighs every option, because he wants to take the head off the snake, right? He wants to take the head off the snake. He wants to end this. And it seems that Iran, after El Mencho, who was the leader of CJNG, the flesh peddlers, the organ harvesters, the human flesh eaters, literally, um, literally, y'all, have a deal with Iran and operating in the United States, that they've been operating in the United States for a long time. And it was, what, 5, 6 days after El Mencho was raided and he lost his life, that President Trump said, okay, we are absolutely, we know which direction we're going in now, where this snake's head is, and it leads to Iran. It leads to Iran. And so that's where we're at right now, is this escalation in Iran. And I can tell you this, for him to make that kind of remark like he did on Easter Sunday today, he has all the leverage. He's holding all the cards in his hands. He would never say that if he didn't have the leverage, if he wasn't holding the cards. And when you look at it, clearly, the only thing that Iran has, and of course they're backed by China, and China is, they gave the ultimatum to China: buy our oil in yuan, and not in US dollar. That put China in a really bad situation, right? Because Iran is their ally and they are showing it. They're showing it. But it put the whole Middle East in a bind, because of the petrodollar and all the deals that went with that. So, um, either way, uh, Iran only has the option to destroy, whereas President Trump has leverage. He has positive, the Western world financial arena. And he has a lot of positive negotiating tools that Iran doesn't have, that China doesn't have, because we don't need um, Iran oil, right? Uh, we have our own oil, and we're self-sufficient. We're self-sufficient. He made that happen right when he got in. And so this is where uh, China is, weak. And even though they stockpiled and everything, but that can't last forever. They're a very big country. And so he absolutely has the advantage, and even though there is these little helps for Iran right now, but uh, that he has been on the phone, that he has been leveraging himself, and to make a statement like that, he seems very, very confident. So, and that's part of the art of the deal, is you can't make a statement like that. I mean, you can make a statement, but not like that one, unless you have the deal in your pocket, you have the leverage. And so, and things are moving so fast, it might have already happened, right? Because they have till Tuesday. And so we'll see. We'll see. But I can tell you this, that the leadership there in Iran was absolutely in alliance with CJNG. They were absolutely up to no good. They were absolutely big, big players all the way up through Central America into the El Paso Juarez pipeline and into our country, in a very, very big way, and in a very, very, let's just say it was a national security threat. And it was a national security threat because those are the people that targeted President Trump with the Walmart mass shooting. Okay? Though that's the very alliance that took our son's life. That's the absolute alliance that attempted to take President Trump's life. And it's the alliance that took Charlie Kirk's life. There's no doubt in my mind that this is the same alliance that that really caused what is it, 24 deaths in the bloody Walmart mass shooting, and the millions of dollars, the theft that was going on in the Walmart victims funds. Like, we can't even have victims funds now in a go send, give send go, or a, another donation hub or whatever. And because it will be distributed wrongly by protectors, by philanthropists, narco philanthropists that are in alliance with the cartel. Um, so this is why it's so dangerous for our country, just bringing down our country in so many ways, and absolutely embedded and in with contracts too into our military. So it's been just you know very interesting walk to see how President Trump leads the military as commander in chief, when we know for a fact there are um, individuals inside the military that are mutinous, right? So I think he's handled that brilliantly. And of course, he had a, a real victory today by rescuing the pilot, right? So both pilots are rescued, and so I just call him Magnificent Trump. And then some people get on and say, "Oh, the Air Force is the one that saved um, these airmen, these pilots." And I'm like, really? Do they not know how the military works? There's something called the commander in chief. And before I said that, somebody else wrote that. And so thank you so much for writing that. That was really amazing, because President Trump is the commander in chief of the military. And if they have a victory, that feather goes into his hat. That feather goes into his hat as the commander in chief. And that was just brilliant rescue that his military conducted, because it takes a good leader. Look at Richard's um, first sergeants. They had no esprit de corps at all. They had no esprit de corps. Richard was the guidon bearer, and he kept telling his grandfather and us that something was really wrong. His unit had no esprit de corps, right? You can't win a battle without esprit de corps, right? A communion within in a unit that brings camaraderie and a will to do your job really, really well. There was a lot of sex cult activity. There was, Richard reported to Child Protective Services. Okay. There was mutiny. This army, this Air Force that President Trump is leading is is capable of saving these two pilots with just incredible courage. And so I think he cleaned out some of the bad apples. There's still some, when I think of General Stewart, he needs to be out. You know, um, yeah, there's several that need to absolutely be relieved of duty for what they've done, because what they did was an act of war, against the president and um, against America, against, of course, Richard Halliday, what they did is just so bad. And it is deserving of the highest penalty, right? The highest penalty. And thank God for Texas, because the death penalty is on the table in Texas. And that needs to be the major option going forward for these traders and what they have done. So yeah, I'm absolutely on board with President Trump. We, as a family, are on board with President Trump because we know the level of evil that was coming through our border. We know the risk to our national security. We know the risk to our volunteer sons and daughters. We know the level of evil when it comes to trafficking and how they were doing all of that organ harvesting and everything. It's it's so bad. It's so bad, and it connects to think that what's happening at our southern border doesn't connect with the Iran Contra, that does not, I want to say turbo force. Um, it does connect to Iran. And this, yeah, the whole financial, the whole trafficking, it's there was a reason why, after getting the logbooks and the ledgers from Almencho, um, that President Trump said, okay, we know who is behind this with hard evidence. And he went and did this campaign against um, Iran. So thank you so much, everybody. I know that's kind of hard to hear on Easter, but look what Easter has done. What Jesus did was empower us to wage war on evil, right? Within ourselves and in our daily lives, right? To get rid of the vices, to get rid of the evil. I mean, this is what Easter is all about. It is about empowering us to live righteous lives and to have righteous countries. And when your country is embedded, and even Iran being embedded, because I don't want to say, I should say, an Iranian faction, the leadership there. Look at how they were living. Soleimani's niece was living in the United States for years, and living, the high life. Um, so that just tells you, um, the level of um what the level of, I want to say, taking advantage, exploitation. Yeah, that's a good word. The level of exploitation um, that these people would have to take advantage of our country, and then in the same breath, chant "Death to America." You know, so that's really good that. Uh, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, uh, took those people's green card away. Why should they be here? Go back to Iran, if that's the country that you like, right? If that's a country you like, I don't understand why they were living in the United States. Go back to your country and make it great, and make it great. But don't come here, exploit our country, and then wish for it to be conquered. No, that's just going too far, isn't it? It's just going too far. So today is a great day. We'll see. Because it shows you that President Trump does have the leverage. Otherwise, he wouldn't say it. He does have the empowerment of Easter, right? And we know, because of all these years of what has happened to him, what has happened to us, what has happened in Richard's case, that President Trump was the one that was being targeted. Of course, our son was targeted. Um, that the arrests, oh gosh, so many arrests, uh, eh, all the stopping of the USA to the narco NGOs, um, the destruction of the cartel leadership, the extradition of those leaders to, to stop the fuel theft, to stop the drug pipelines going on. It's just amazing everything that he is accomplishing. And I've taken the time to list them and put them on Facebook. So I hope that you read them. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I think, this week is going to be absolutely breaking news week again. And this is the vicious negotiation for the repatriation of our son's remains, which are in Juarez, Mexico, which absolutely they should give back our son to us, right? So more about that later. But um, we just appreciate everyone sharing to get this word out and all the other posts that we have. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you so much. Bye bye. And, one more thing, Easter lasts 40 days. The next 40 days are just awesome. They're going to be so awesome. 40 days. Easter lasts 40 days. Yeah. 40 days of absolute celebration, feasting, and all that entails. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing.